Hello friends, I am Dr. Jikku Elias Benny. In this video, we shall discuss the basic applied anatomy regarding spine. This is a feature called myrmecophily, which help us to know the plant ant relationship. There is a mutual relationship between plants and ants, which helps both for the livelihood. Actually, the plant gives proper food and nutrition to the ants. These ants in return help the plants to cope up with the infections which are caused by fungus. And this is called myrmecophily, plant ant relationship. I saw this picture only to show you that in this nature, in this world, all are interrelated, so that we shall share our knowledge for the better prosperity of the entire society. Coming to applied anatomy of spine, all of you know that vertebra consists of total number 33 and normal spine is S-shaped, in which there is a mild lordosis in cervical and lumbar and kyphosis in thoracic spine. Actually, it is S-shaped with mild lordosis of lumbar spine and cervical spine and kyphosis of thoracic curve. In fetus, actually it is a C-shaped structure. Only it is a C-shaped structure, and whenever the child starts strengthening of neck, 3 months of age, then it starts lordosis of cervical curve, and when the child starts to walk at 1 year of age, then it starts lumbar curve. Regarding this, the structure of spine, the cervical area is prone to injuries. Thoracic area is prone to infections like TB, and lumbar area is prone to degenerative diseases like spondylosis and disc disease. Cervical is freely mobile and thoracic is least mobile, and already I explained that cervical is more prone to injuries. Thoracic area is prone to TB infections, and lumbar is more prone to degenerative disease. This is the axial view of a vertebra, in which you shall able to see the body of the vertebra. Just posterior to it, you shall able to see vertebral canal or spinal canal. You shall able to see pedicle, through which the neural foramen passes. Here is the transverse process. Here you shall see superior articular process, which articulates with the inferior articular process of the just above vertebra, which causes an apophyseal joint, which is posterior to the vertebral complex. Here in between the body of each vertebra, there is intervertebral disc. This is the spinous process. You shall see lamina here. Please note these structures, because this applied anatomy is very much important in the diagnosis of disease and better understanding of spinal disorders. Please note that in sagittal view, when we are looking from side, the body of vertebra is hourglass in shape. Please note this is the superior articular process, and this is inferior articular process, which articulates with the superior articular process of just below vertebra and form apophyseal joint or facet joint. This is the spinous process. This is transverse process. Please look that through this foramen nerve coming out, which is very close to pedicle, facet joint. This picture is of very much important in understanding of neural foraminal stenosis. Coming to pars interarticularis, which is the meeting point of superior articular process and inferior articular process of one vertebra. You shall able to see there are totally 2 pars interarticularis in one vertebra, which is the fusion point of superior articular and inferior articular process of one vertebra. Actually, the superior articular process and inferior articular process forms the facet joint. Next, I already explained that in between each vertebra there is intervertebral disc in which a central nucleus pulposus, which is gelatinous and hydrated, circled by 6 layers of annulus fibers. Please note that the pressure is evenly distributed in a normal disc. Here, the disc is attached with vertebra with end plate. Centrally, in sagittal view, you shall able to see this is the axial view. Here it is sagittal. You shall able to see central nucleus pulposus, which is hydrated and circled by annulus fibers. This is the neural foramen through which nerve is coming out, which is very close to facet joint. You shall able to disc in between the vertebral body. This is the axial view for the better picturization of disc prolapse. You shall able to see that this is centrally located nucleus pulposus and circled by annulus fibers. And please note that when there is tear in annulus fibers and when the nucleus pulposus is desiccated, that is dehydrated, the hydration is lost due to degeneration, then this nucleus pulposus bulges in through the tear of annulus fibers. When it is centrally bulged, then it causes spinal canal stenosis. That means whenever it is bulged centrally, that means direct posteriorly, it causes spinal canal stenosis, narrowing of spinal canal. Here there is a ligament called posterior longitudinal ligament. When this posterior longitudinal ligament is very strong, the first prolapsed disc is touching the posterior longitudinal ligament. When this posterior longitudinal ligament is intact, then there is a chance of posterolateral disc prolapse. That means the nucleus pulposus through the annulus fiber tear protrudes posterolaterally, which causes neural foraminal stenosis, which is more painful towards the affected limb. It causes neural foraminal stenosis if the disc is protruded posterolaterally. You shall also see pars interarticularis, facet joint, which is the joining point of superior articular facet and inferior articular facet. Please note that. Here you shall see lamina. Connecting the lamina of each vertebra, there is a ligament called ligamentum flavum. In this picture, you shall able to see this is anterior longitudinal ligament, which connects the body of vertebra and disc anteriorly. Here you shall see posterior longitudinal ligament, which connects the posterior part of body of vertebra. Along with that, disc is also connected. This is posterior longitudinal ligament, which is attached posterior to the body of vertebra but anterior to vertebral canal. Please note that posterior longitudinal ligament is anterior to spinal canal, which is connecting the body of vertebra posteriorly and connecting disc also. Whenever there is a disc prolapse, the first anatomical structure which is touched by the prolapsed disc is posterior longitudinal ligament. You shall also see facet capsulary ligament, which is connecting facet joint. Here there is interspinous ligaments in between spinous process and supraspinous ligaments connecting the spinous process of all vertebra. Here you shall also see intertransverse ligaments in between connecting each transverse process. This entire ligament complex and paraspinal muscles, supraspinalis and also erector spinae, this entire complex is holding the structure of spine. And when we are giving rehabilitation, the normal alignment of spine is getting to normal, and also the rehabilitation gives more nourishment and circulation to this particular area. That is the effect of rehabilitation. And for learning what changes occur while doing rehabilitation, we shall able to know the applied anatomy of spine. Here in sagittal view, you shall again see this is anterior longitudinal ligament, which is connecting anteriorly, and posterior longitudinal ligament, which is posterior to the body of vertebra but anterior to the vertebral canal, connecting body of vertebra posteriorly and disc posteriorly. Here you shall see annulus fibers, and here centrally located hydrated and gelatinous nucleus pulposus in the center of annulus fibers. Here you shall see ligamentum flavum, which is connecting posterolaterally. Here you shall see ligamentum flavum, which is connecting posterolateral part of spinal canal, connecting the lamina. It is connecting the lamina of vertebral canal, which is posterolaterally located to the spinal canal. Here you shall see ligamentum flavum. This is supraspinous ligaments, and this is interspinous ligaments in between the spinous process. Coming to sacroiliac joint, which is connecting the sacrum and then the ilium. This sacroiliac joint connects or transmits the weight of the body coming through the vertebra towards the both lower limbs. So that the sacroiliac joint is also very much important regarding the understanding of spinal disorders. Sacroiliitis is a more common entity, which is common in females after normal delivery. And this sacrum is a fixed joint, and this lumbar spine is a flexible joint, and this is the most common cause for degeneration of disc in the lower lumbar area, and also the cause of spondylolisthesis also. Coming to the applied anatomy of spine, please note that already I explained that it is a S-shaped structure in which cervical spine is more prone to injuries, thoracic spine to infections, and lumbar spine to disc degeneration. This is the axial view in which you shall able to see body, and this is vertebral canal or spinal canal. Here in this part you shall able to see the posterior longitudinal ligament, and here anterior longitudinal ligament, and this superior articular process connecting with the inferior articular process of just above vertebra forms facet joint or apophyseal joint, and this nerve root is very much close to facet joint, so that the facet joint arthropathy itself causes neural foraminal stenosis. For the understanding of spondylolisthesis or spondylolysis, you must know pars interarticularis, and this pars interarticularis is the meeting point of superior articular process and inferior articular process of one vertebra. This in between, in its center, there is hydrated nucleus pulposus, and it is surrounded by, it is covered by annulus fibers, more than 6 layers of annulus fibers. And this axial view gives more clarity. Whenever there is tear in annulus fiber, the degenerated, desiccated nucleus pulposus comes out through the rent, and when it is central, it causes spinal canal stenosis. Whenever it is posterolateral, it causes neural foraminal stenosis. Connecting the laminae of each vertebra, there is ligamentum flavum. This ligamentum flavum thickening also causes spinal canal stenosis. This facet joint arthropathy causes neural foraminal stenosis and also spinal canal stenosis. So that this terminology and applied anatomy is very much important in the better understanding and specific management of spinal disorders. Here you shall see pars interarticularis, which is the meeting point of superior facet and inferior facet. Here you shall see ligamentum flavum. This one is anterior longitudinal ligament. This is posterior longitudinal ligament. In the ankylosing spondylitis, the bamboo spine, which we see in radiological finding, dagger sign, which we see in radiological finding, are all due to the ossification and fusion of these ligaments, which prevents the flexion and extension of spine also. Here you shall see facet capsular ligament. There is interspinous ligaments, supraspinous ligaments, which can be seen in this picture. This is the sagittal view of the same. And coming to the sacroiliac joint, this is a crucial joint which transmits the weight from vertebra towards both lower limb, which connects the sacrum and ilium. Please note that the sacrum is a fixed joint and this lumbar vertebra is movable, and which causes, this entity causes more disorders to the lower lumbar area. Thank you.